Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. How he does make me laugh. It is our Wednesday crew. Hello, Myra J.
Sybil, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing just fine, thank
Looking like
you.
the Queen of Zamunda. And young Quinn, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm great. School's out. You good? Are you
Yes.
chilling?
I actually applied for a PhD program at Morgan State University. And so I had my interview with them this week. So please
Awesome.
put your prayers up for how that's going to go. Hopefully, fully funded. It's their
Nice.
it's PhD in social justice and applied sociology. And so they're
Wow, that's a
social
lot.
scientists. Yeah, they're social scientists actually trying to find real tangible answers to like a world without police or like a world where housing is in a crisis and like just gathering data and like different methodologies and stuff like that. So and I always wanted to go to HBCU. And so the fact that Morgan State is like actually interviewing me is just like, ah. So we're going to
I've,
see.
Nice.
I've got a lot of fine people that I know
Yeah.
and love in Morgan State. So
Yeah.
that's a great school there in Be
Yeah.
Stephen Hill, how are you?
You know what? I am half the circumference of the world away from my baby, and I'm missing her badly.
Oh,
Otherwise fine. It's
you're going to rectify
literally.
that soon, though, right?
Yes. I'm headed back in beginning of next week to China, to
To China.
China, to
China,
China, to
China,
China, China.
China.
And we'll talk
Yeah,
about the
but
song first.
it's weird. It's weird. The communication is weird because like when I wake up here, she's going to bed there. When I go to bed here, she wakes up there because it's exactly 12 hours away. We're
Yeah.
exactly 12 hours separate. Halfway around the world.
Wow.
So other than that, it's very nice. Very nice going to DJ my 40th anniversary uh, for my college reunion this Friday. So I've
Ah,
been getting my DJ-ness ready.
And so
ah,
is this music of the time?
Yes.
Okay.
Everything between 1980 and 1984. All songs between 1980 and 1984. Now the
oh,
great thing
that's
about
gonna be a party.
the great thing about that time is that I'm able to use the Jackson's Triumph, Purple Rain, Thriller, uh, Controversy, Dirty Mind among Springsteen, Born in the USA, Madonna's first album. So it really was a golden time for cool dance stuff. So
Very
Yeah,
much so.
pretty amazing.
Very much so. Oh,
yeah.
you will definitely have them out swooning and grooving
Yeah.
in there. Michael Stallworth says, "Wish I could be there." So
Yes, indeed, Mr. Stallworth, indeed.
I want to
absolutely.
see the video of you
Yeah, I want to
dancing,
see
the
a video.
dancing DJ. Yeah, come on now, Stephen Hill.
The
Go
best
live.
thing is when I DJ, I get so intense. Like I'm gonna make sure the beat matches so closely
Mhm.
that I can. That all the pictures of me going like,
Does your nephew have that same kind of intensity that you have?
no, Luca. Luca has no intensity at all. It's all joy. It's all joy. Somebody else will worry about the intense part. I'm out here.
Okay. Okay.
Go live on Instagram if you can, so we can
Oh,
tune in.
that's a good point. That's a good idea. That's a good. I will take
You
this
have
thing.
enough phone
I'll take
battery.
this thing. Put a phone in it. Boom. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
That's
Thank you,
how
Quinn.
we watch you in the loopers.
That's true.
Yeah.
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 Indeed.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Quinn. Not for nothing, but you have a job opportunity in California. If you take that, okay. Okay.
Hold
No,
up. Hold
no,
up.
not anything until all the things are
Nothing,
signed.
nothing, nothing,
I
nothing.
get it. I get it.
I
Good for
know
you.
nothing.
Yeah,
I
until
know
You're
June.
not
nothing.
closing any
So
doors.
I'm just we just taking back what you told me last week. We're just taking that all back.
No, that exists. I didn't lie. What I
Take it all
haven't done
back.
is that I didn't tell current people. So I don't know who watches this and who knows who.
Oh
So
man,
I
So everybody out there listening,
you are
rewind about 60 seconds. Okay.
you are a messy professional dater, aren't you?
I am
You
very
are messy. You are
She said I
messy.
am.
That's right.
I
And then
agree. I
trusting
concur.
the chin to the soldier. I
Not
get it.
holding back at all. Okay.
So yes.
We've
Hmm.
got a great show as normal. Quinn is going to talk about the what's going on in the LGBTQIA plus community, as well as we have another one of our youngins, the contributor Coy Malone of social justice fame, and she's going to talk about her experience in going to the polls voting yesterday, Myra, in the Georgia primary, and her experience and. The president of the Georgia NAACP, attorney Gerald Griggs, is also going to join us in the What's Really Going On segment and kind of touch base with what's really going on and with what Coy discovered. and how do we counteract that? So please do stay tuned. Let us talk about the What You Need to Know newsletter. Young Kwyn wrote about a worldwide alert warning U.S. citizens to exercise increased caution due to violence against them in the LGBTQIA plus community. What happened, Young Kwyn?
So on Friday, May 17th, the U.S. State Department issued a worldwide caution alert warning U.S. citizens to exercise caution due to increased potential foreign terrorist organization-inspired violence against LGBTQIA plus persons and events. This comes on the heel of 8 years since the Pulse nightclub mass shooting in Orlando, Florida. That 2016 massacre left 49 people dead and 53 people wounded. And this also comes after messaging from a Islamic State terror group and an attempted knife attack by 3 alleged ISIS sympathizers in Vienna last year. Both of these prompted reasons for concern. The GLAAD, which is like the premier LGBTQ media advocacy group, recorded at least 145 incidents of harassment, vandalism, and assault directed at LGBTQ people and events during Pride Month in the U.S. last year. So since Pride Month is coming up again, they just want folks to stay safe. But many advocacy groups have been issuing state of emergency like almost every year. Honestly, it feels like every month. And so this doesn't come as a surprise for anybody, but it does come as like heartfelt that there still needs to be this type of alert for folks that are trying to celebrate who they are.
Are there targeted places, or are there places where they tell you especially not to travel or to be very careful in the world? And you mentioned some Muslim related extremists, but are there places in the world where you're told you don't want to mess with that?
They said the Department of State advises United States citizens overseas to exercise increased caution, but they didn't name specific countries or continents. But I would just guard myself against places that have the harshest queer laws. As we know, that's many places right now, like in Africa, from Ghana. And I think hopefully I'm praying there won't be any sort of targeted attack again, like, you know, in Florida or even in places like Colorado. I think this is just an unfortunate time where folks have to be careful about how proudful they are of who they want to be. But they didn't say any specific places, but yeah.
You know, I think I shared with you before. I had a conversation with Marsha Warfield last year when she was on the cruise, and she was saying this was her first cruise, and I was asking her, I was like, I said, oh, you know, don't you travel to like the Caribbean? And she just asked me, she said, well, are they friendly to the LGBTQ community? And that I was really taken aback because it had never really occurred to me that this community would have this type of fear. And then I remember specifically that the Bahamas didn't Rosie O'Donnell do a gay cruise, and they told them don't even get off the boat in Nassau. Yeah,
and so, it's like, first of all, why would you even go that route if you can't get off the ship? I guess maybe that was the only cruise company that they could get for I don't know what the circumstances were, but it didn't make sense to me that they would do a Caribbean cruise if you didn't feel as though they were safe wherever they got, you know, they ever disembarked.
Yeah. There are lots of, I know nationwide, I don't know about international, but I know there's lots of nationwide maps where folks have listed places, safe places for like queer folks to travel to or like to stay. But I have been a bit more cautious, even when Ashley and I are thinking like,
my question to you,
like, okay, do we go to Dubai? Because I heard you can't, you know, definitely be queer in Dubai. And it's just like, okay, now is it Jamaica? And it's just like, where can we go where we can publicly show affection and like hold our hands? And even I was talking to one of my best friends, she's in Thailand right now. And she's like, oh, come over to Thailand, and Thailand's safe. And I'm like, man, I wanted to go to some place in Africa, like with my baby. Like, how unfortunate is that can't be around my own people? So, yeah.
But I got to tell you, Thailand's pretty hot.
Yeah. Trust me, Patong Beach, go down there, have a party, okay? That's all I'm going to say about that. You're more than welcome, okay? Let me put it this way. Everybody's welcome.
And sometimes everybody's are all in one person.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, brother.
I was going to ask you, Kwyn, about if you've had any trepidation when you travel to Europe or any of your travels where you've gone, where you've been particularly cautious about where you went or events that you were attending.
Yeah, I didn't experience. Maybe I ignored it. I mean, I always get stared at. I don't know at this point. I don't know if somebody's treating me bad because I'm Black or because I'm gay. At this point, I don't really have the time to ask. But I know we did experience some type of tribulation when we were in Paris in our hotel, where they kept calling us like roommates and kept saying, "Oh, you two as friends." And I'm like, "No, this is my girlfriend. This is my girlfriend. We're kind of locked in. Like at this point, like I'm kissing her in public, and they're just like, oh, okay." And I can see it was making them like uncomfortable. And I remember somebody kind of like turning their child away, and it's almost just like
In Paris.
In Paris, we were in Paris, like down. We were close to.
Man, no.
But I didn't remember experiencing anything like that when we were in London and Turks and Caicos. I don't remember experiencing anything like that. But we haven't been. And in Mexico, we didn't experience anything either. So I don't know.
Oh. But you do you take the time to kind of do your homework regarding what the laws and the customs are in those areas?
Now I feel like we are, just because the pressure, the fear, I think, is increasing as we're getting older, and our relationship is definitely becoming more serious. And seeing these reports of people getting arrested overseas and not being able to contact their family is like a really real concern for me. So that's what we've been trying to figure out, like where else we want to go that we can show affection to each other. But Ashley has jokingly told me many times that if we go someplace and they're homophobic, she will sit at the back of the bus and like not talk to me if need be, so we could, have our trip, and we'll just pretend like we're cousins or whatever. But I have such a rebellious, spirit that I don't know if I cannot not respond to like somebody jokingly being homophobic or somebody jokingly being sexist. And it's just like, I don't even want to try to put myself in that situation.
Sure.
But somebody had mentioned in the comment, like, this is like the green book all over again. And
that's what I was just going to ask you about. Is there a green book for gays?
I think somebody is definitely working on one, because at this time, especially since, well, I don't want to say since Trump has been in office, I feel like there's been, homophobia very long before that. But I think somebody should create one now, especially for trans folks too, that I'm just thinking about, like for employment, for safe housing, for places where you can get your therapies. Like there needs to be some type of document that helps folks, queer folks, trans folks, intersex folks be able to live productively and like thrive without the fear of being incarcerated, murdered, or anything.
That could be a very good feature to have. I just like the idea that I'm not able to see the comments, but I think that that we're right on the same page there. One of the other things that we also address in the What You Need to Know newsletter on Wednesdays is Black and Missing. That is our opportunity to join with our friends at the Black and Missing Foundation to put a spotlight on Black folks who are missing. All too often, they do go missing and they are not given the full extent of coverage in their town, in their area, because they're not white and blonde. And so we found this has been the case in many an opportunity to get the word out about people. There are rare exceptions, and James Hennison is not one of those. He is a young man who's 29 years old. He's been missing since February 19th of this year from Chicago. He's 6 feet tall, 200 pounds, black hair, short hair length, and brown eyes. He was last seen on North Parkside Avenue, February 19th. And take a look at his picture in the What You Need to Know newsletter if he looks familiar. And perhaps if you go back in your memory bank a little bit and think that maybe sometime around February 19th, you may have seen him, or sooner, or more recent, I should say, to this date, then please go to the Black and Missing Foundation website. And I'm sure that they would appreciate a word from you. The one thing that they did say regarding his disappearance, it was that the situation was not a good one that he was involved in, and so that's kind of a cloudy description. But whatever it is, we hope that he is found and found safe and sound. So that is our little known. That's our. I'm sorry. That is our
Wow.
newsletter. That's our newsletter, which also includes the little known Black History Fact. I was getting ahead of myself, as well as the HBCU Corner. That is also our LGBTQ. Kwyn is. Oh my God! It sounds like somebody's beating on my door. I don't know if you can hear the thunder. Also, Coy, who's coming on in just a moment, is our social justice. Kwyn's big brother, Cameron, works on politics, and Aprilette Russell is our mental health and wellness contributor. So go to SybilWilkes.com, subscribe. It's absolutely free, and we'd love to have you be a part of the What You Need to Know news crew. Let us go to the aforementioned Kwyn Malone and welcome her and attorney Gerald Griggs of the NAACP. Hey, Coy.
Hey, Sybil. Hey,
How are
Myra.
you?
Hey, Kwyn. Hey, Stephen.
Happening.
Hey, Attorney Gerald Griggs. We got a full house today.
Yes.
And may I say, proud papa, congratulations, Attorney Griggs, on the arrival of your latest.
Thank you. I appreciate that. He's sleeping right now, which is one of the few times he actually sleeps. So getting a little time away from a little man.
Okay, we're gonna let you go so you can get some sleep, because they say that's when you sleep is when they sleep, right? So I wanted you on, Attorney Griggs, because Kwyn has a story that's going to be in tomorrow's newsletter, and I wanted people to hear this. And I'm sorry, Coy has a thank you, Myra, has a story in tomorrow's What You Need to Know newsletter, and it is in reference to yesterday's primary elections in the state of Georgia. Coy?
Yeah, so I noticed yesterday when I'm going to vote, there are signs everywhere on the polling machine. Nothing that I noticed that was anything different than before. Usually all these signs that are there are just giving you directions on, hey, this is how you cast your ballot. This is where you need to go when you're done. Make sure that this, and this lines up. Something told me, look to your left and just read the signs this time before you leave. And I see a sign that is basically explaining that one of the candidates for Superior Court judge in Georgia has been disqualified. And her name is Tiffany Johnson. However, her name is still listed as one of the candidates in the running for one of the Georgia Superior State Court judge seats. But the sign explained that if you vote for her, the vote will be disqualified. And if I'm not mistaken, your entire ballot will be voided if you select this person. So I tested something real quick. If this is a candidate that's been disqualified, yet they're still on the ballot, then surely the machine should pick this up and say that my ballot isn't valid and that I need to go back and change my selection. So I chose Tiffany Johnson and went back to the end of my selections. I received no error, nothing that was saying, hey, you need to go back and change this. So I think this is an example of tampering with Georgia votes to kind of siphon selections or the election results a certain kind of way. Because not only is she listed as a candidate, but she's the first choice on that selection for that category, which means people that don't do research, that don't know anything, they're likely to choose the first person if they don't know anything else.
And the real unfortunate part about that particular election is that's one of the most consequential elections on the ballot. So if you know anything about Georgia politics, of course, you've heard about the Trump election interference case. Mm-hmm. Well, Tiffany was running against Scott McAfee and Robert Patillo, who were running to be the judge who would oversee that particular trial. So it's very concerning. Tiffany was disqualified about a month ago. And so these are digital ballots. Now, of course, the absentee ballots already went out, but you could correct the digital ballots. And so that is concerning that there was nothing that caused an error in the feedback if somebody chose that individual. And it's also very concerning that it possibly could void all of the election results. And considering that the turnout for the election in this Georgia primary was exceptionally low, it could definitely adversely affect somebody deciding to vote for Ms. Johnson. And candidly, she is a friend and she called me about the disqualification. But to not remove her name after she's been disqualified is definitely concerning and brings in more issues that we already have with our Georgia elections and the attempt to subvert and suppress voices.
And can you void your entire ballot if you do vote for her?
Well, as an attorney, I would argue no. It would just void that particular vote,
Right.
but not the entire ballot. But again, we're in Georgia. We're in ground zero of voter suppression, and they will find any reason to invalidate a ballot. So I cautiously say, hopefully no. But this is Georgia, and we've had issues in the past with voter purges. Now we have unlimited voter challenges because of SB 202 and the new legislation that just went in effect for this particular election. And so I'm cautiously optimistic, but it's still Georgia.
That part.
And Coy, you also mentioned that you were in touch with an organization that had perhaps given you some guidance, or you had talked with them about this situation.
I do want to talk with someone about this. I don't really exactly know where do we go from here? How does this get challenged? How do we correct this? How do we even bring this to the attention of the public? Because there were no notices outside of polling places. Of course, no one can be, within a certain amount of feet away from any polling location. I saw nothing about this on the news. I'm wondering, what is the validity of being able to do this legally at the poll by saying, hey, you can't vote for this person, and if you do, this is what happens.
Well, there have been ballot issues both in Macon, and I've gotten calls from Columbus already about yesterday's election. So my advice would be to call 1-866-OUR-VOTE, 1-866-OUR-VOTE. That is the voter protection hotline that takes you directly to the Lawyers Committee on Civil Rights, who filed these lawsuits on behalf of the Georgia State Conference of the NAACP. Or, of course, reach out to the NAACP and file a complaint. I'm sure you will reach out to me as soon as we get off the call for that complaint, and I'll put you in touch with the Lawyers Committee, and they will do an investigation into that, because it's very concerning, and I'm sure you weren't the only person in Fulton County to encounter that. Because, again, if you don't watch the local news, you didn't know that Tiffany was disqualified as recently as a month ago, and that it potentially could have adverse effects on your ballot. So thank you for bringing this to the attention of me and others, that this was going on, because we didn't know.
Yeah, and the only other person that I did see that mentioned something about this is a legal analyst Phil Holloway, who is also an attorney, and he's a legal analyst for the local TV station here, WSB TV Channel 2, which I believe is an ABC station. Mm-hmm. And he posted about this on Twitter and basically stated that, if your vote is disqualified for Tiffany Johnson, the next person on the ballot is Judge Scott McAfee, who was second. And then under that is Robert Patillo. And then, of course, under that is you can write in an option. And so there's just, he also pointed out that there's barely noticeable printed notice of Johnson's disqualification. So this is something that I believe certain people who are a little bit more aware, or just kind of aware that, hey, Georgia has had a history of fudging elections. We need to be careful and look everywhere at this point, because who's going to look at the poll machine and say, hey, I read this sign? Not the average person.
Yeah. So is there any, it's fascinating that they would take the entire ballot instead of that vote. Is there any copy of that sign, or is there any like, does that sign exist anywhere that says that the entire ballot is disqualified and not just that name?
Well, what I was trying to do was memorize what I saw, because I know you're not supposed to have your phone out.
And that's another issue in Georgia law. Once you get to the actual voting booth, it's against the law to take photos. So it's very difficult to get that type of evidence because it's illegal. So, of course, I trust Coy is accurately reporting what happened, but there's no way for us to prove that up other than her testimony. But I mean, that's another consideration. And given the history of Georgia doing things that disproportionately invalidate ballots for the reason that we've seen so many African Americans and other people voting, because there's this big lie that the 2020 election was stolen, when it wasn't. It was just a lot of voting that occurred, especially in places like Fulton County. So we need to look into this. And again, I'm willing to take it up. But for those who are watching, if you had any issue with this election, the number to call is 1-866-R-VOTE. That is the election protection hotline that's manned by the NAACP and the Lawyers Committee.
Yeah.
And Myra is an Atlanta resident as well.
Yeah, I early voted last week in Cobb County, and first of all, it's always like find my voting place, because it always freaking changes. So you have to find out where do you go to early vote. And I used to do the drop box, but the governor, bless his heart, removed the drop boxes because he wanted your vote to be safe. And as I have said many times, my drop box was at the Cobb County Police Station. Now how safe? It was literally at the door of the Cobb County Police Station, and they have removed that drop box. Yeah.
That was part of SB 202, where they reduced the number of drop boxes. So in your most populous counties, and for those that are not familiar with Atlanta, Metro Atlanta, Cobb is a very big county, just like Fulton and DeKalb. They cut the number of drop boxes by 2/3. So in a county where you would have 40 drop boxes, they're now 5. And so, and they also cut the window for early advance voting in half. And so when people talk about, oh, there's not rampant voter suppression in Georgia, all you have to do is look at the number of drop boxes they've cut, the amount of time they've cut for early voting, the amount of weekends early voting that they cut. You only have one weekend for early voting in most counties. And then ultimately the number of unlimited voter challenges. Now you can challenge thousands of voters. One person can challenge those voters. So it's a lot happening in Atlanta, in Fulton County, in Georgia, and that we have to be aware of. And thank you, Coy, for bringing this to our attention, that this is another issue as we gear up for the November election.
Which is vital.
And I couldn't even pull out my phone. Like, you know, once you're finished voting, you turn in your ballot. They have like a little table by the exit door with a little "I voted, I'm a Georgia voter" stickers. So as I'm picking up the stickers and I'm pulling out my phone in my purse, I'm at the exit door. It's literally, here's the table, here's the doorway. This lady, oh, don't pull out your phone. You can't do that right here. Don't do that. It's against the law. You got to get away from here. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm trying to do this so I can, you know, log this info while it's fresh on my mind. And I'm at the exit door and they're telling me, don't pull out your phone.
Walk out that door.
Yeah.
I have another question. I was talking to a friend who was also a Georgia voter yesterday, and she was saying that one of her concerns was that she didn't know enough. She didn't have enough information about the judges in order to make an educated vote on the number of judges that were up for election or re-election. Is there a place, or is there, and I'm going to try to accumulate a list of people, of places around the country where people can go to look for those that are running for judge, and whether they, you know, the pros and cons, or whether they are recommended or not.
Yeah, and so in Georgia, judges are nonpartisan, so there's not a lot of information. The League of Women Voters does grade candidates, so that's one website you can go to. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution, which is the major paper here, does do a write-up on most of the candidates. But when you talk about judges, it's very difficult to get a full grasp of, you know, their records. Now, in Georgia, all the judges are elected, and in the Supreme Court, there was only one contested race, very contested race between John Barrow and Justice Pinson.
And Myra was talking about that one. Yeah.
And, you know, it turned out, well, the way it turned out. I'm in NAACP, so I can't go into how it turned out.
Look at my face. That's all you got to do.
But there was a lot of partisan politics in the election of that particular judge. And then you have the Court of Appeals, where now we have no African-American members of the Court of Appeals. M. Yvette Miller retired. She was the only African-American, the only female that was running. And now we have a gentleman who does not live in the state of Georgia, but is moving, by the name of Jeff Davis, who just won. Don't know much about him. And then, of course, we have all of the Superior Court judges. And in Georgia, 94% of the judges ran unopposed. 94. Now, the Superior Court judges are the most powerful people in the state. You know why they're the most powerful people in the state? They have the ability to determine whether you spend life in prison or if the death penalty is on the table. Now, a jury decides whether or not you can get the death penalty if a prosecutor notices you for death. But the judge ultimately makes a decision on whether or not to uphold that. So 94% of the judges in Georgia ran unopposed. And so when we're talking about criminal justice reform, we're talking about all the issues we have with mass incarceration. 94% of the judges in Georgia ran unopposed, and Georgia has the highest incarceration percentage in the country and the highest number of people on probation. So nothing is going to change in the Georgia criminal justice system because nobody's running against the judges and there's limited information. It's a nonpartisan race. It's always in May, not in November. And so most people don't know judges continue to be reelected.
And if I may, the only reason why I knew half of the information I knew about the judges here in Georgia is because I went through the Georgia criminal system. So I'm aware of some of the Georgia judges that handled my criminal case. And that helped me kind of make a decision as well. But then you have other former Georgia or former accused Georgia criminals who have also gone through the criminal system here in Georgia that are familiar with all these judges that have worked with appeals, that have worked with the state court, the superior court, and what have you, that might not even be aware that they have the right to vote, but they choose not to. And these are the people that can actually make or break the judge's election in every election. But most of them don't participate.
And that's why we say the local elections are the most important. You know, yesterday, DAs were reelected. Yesterday, county commissioners, judges were reelected, and the sheriffs were reelected in Georgia. And so,
who won the sheriff race? That's what I'm most interested.
Which one?
For
Fulton
County.
Sheriff Labatt won in a runaway. And so that's why it's important for folks to educate themselves on the reason for the LaShawn Thompson case. That's the bed bugs case, which came from that county, and that sheriff just got reelected. And so it's important for us to fully educate ourselves. We had about a 10% turnout in Georgia. There are 7 million registered voters in Georgia. 10% showed up. 10%, y'all.
Wow.
For determining who's going to sit on the Supreme Court.
Right.
The same Supreme Court that's going to determine whether or not a certain case continues. Now, it's in the Court of Appeals, but it may go to the Supreme Court, and they're going to determine. So, again, these are all weighty issues that we have to talk about. And for all those folks who say, oh, I don't vote, it doesn't make a difference. Okay, when you're standing in front of that Superior Court judge in DeKalb or Gwinnett or Lowndes County, just remember you didn't vote.
That's right. That's right. And Coy does a really good job of this. And you know, as we're getting closer to the November election, but certainly in covering the individual states and local primaries, of educating people on the further down the ballot you go, those are the people that have the greatest effect on your day-to-day living. Right. And so, but it's kind of hard to get that across to people. It's not all about the president, because with the president, I mean, you know, he's done pretty good in terms of eliminating a lot of student debt and things like that. But as far as our day-to-day lives are concerned, it's the sheriff, it's the school board, it's all of those people that are running have a more and greater effect on your life on a day-to-day basis.
Absolutely. There were races yesterday, county commission races, that were decided by 2,500 votes. I've had marches with more than 2,500 people. And so when we actually focus on the levers of power that can actually make change, we miss out on the sheriff race. We miss out on the county commission race. The county commission determines the budget for the entire county, which guess who works for the county is the sheriff or the district attorney. Or the judges. They're the ones funding all of it. So once you understand how all these things work, you block out all of the noise. This is not about, you know, as much as I want to focus on what's happening in Washington, I have to focus on what's happening in Metro Atlanta, which is what's happening in the Black Belt, which is below Macon, what's happening on the coast, and of course, what's happening in all of our local municipalities. And that's where these type of elections are the most important, and your voice is exponentially heard, because in a race where only 2,500 people voted, and you were that one vote that made the decision on whether or not this sheriff would be reelected, your vote really does count. It counts in the presidential election, but it definitely counts in the local elections.
Yeah, and that's not discounting what they do on the national level, but definitely don't stop. Don't stop after you vote for the president and the vice president. Keep going. And as you say, you know that these elections are held in May, and this is not. This is going to have a greater effect on your life. It really is. Absolutely. President Griggs, will you tell us about how people can get in touch with you at the NAACP or wherever?
Yes, y'all can follow us on all social media platforms at the Georgia_NAACP, or at the website www.georgianaacp.org. You can follow me at Attorney Griggs on all platforms. And we are trying to educate people in real time on these issues, which is why we were posting all last week about early vote, and then yesterday and Monday about going out to vote. And hopefully people will understand that in November, this is the most consequential election of our lifetime.
Right.
Now, of course, the NAACP can't tell you who to vote for, but we can definitely tell you to go vote. And we need y'all to show up, especially in Georgia, the way you showed up every single time from 2016 to 2018 to 2020 to 2021, 2022, and now again 2024. We have to show up because, Black people determine presidential elections. Let's be clear. We've determined the last 3.
That's right.
And we have to make sure that our voices are heard and that we protect the freedoms that we have been inherited from our ancestors and pass them on to our descendants. So I look forward to working with y'all to get this vote out, but we got to get the vote out 2024 November.
You got it. You got it. President of the Georgia NAACP, Attorney Griggs, thank you so much. And congratulations again on your baby boy. Enjoy this time.
Thank you. Y'all have a great evening.
Okay, good to see you again.
Good to see you as well.
And good job, young Coy. We appreciate it. And look for Coy's story in the Thursday issue of the What You Need to Know newsletter, and talking about her experience as she did her civic duty and went out and voted yesterday.
Thank you.
Oh, Coy, and also tell people you do post videos as well.
Yes, I am. So I am doing my best to committing to posting every week about different experiences and laws in several states, things that are going on right now that can affect your vote or your ability to vote. So please check out my Instagram page at Coy_Malone for those weekly updates. I'm currently editing the video about my voting experience in Georgia from yesterday.
Excellent. So look for Coy on all social media platforms, as well as her story in the What You Need to Know newsletter. And once again, it's free. Go to SybilWilkes.com and sign up. Thank you, young Coy.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Let's move to trending topics. And Stephen Hill, how did your songbird Shantae Moore do in the singer contest in China?
Awesome. Top three last week. She did what song did she do? She did. Wait, I can't remember now. Now I literally. Thank you very much. She did Superwoman. She did an awesome arrangement of Superwoman. And Fausia, the one from Canada, who came in first, did an amazing version of "Set Fire to the Rain" by Adele.
Ooh.
So, our competitive spirit was like, oh, this is how we're going to go? This is what we're doing? Is this what we're doing? Is this what we're doing? Okay. So this week is going to come a little different.
So Steve, do you make your decision yourself what songs you're going to do, or do they assign the songs?
I'm sorry, you say Colonel Tom Parker, what?
Okay.
There's a strategic approach to songs that are selected, how they're performed. There's a whole strategy now. First week was like, oh yeah. Second week, once with Fauci came, I was like, oh, she had a playbook. Okay, got it. Okay, let's huddle. So.
And do you huddle internationally?
Joe Jackson said what?
So you're going to do the DJ thing this weekend, and then you'll head back to China at the beginning of next week.
Benny Medina said what? If you know, you know. If you know, you know. Yes. So DJ thing, and then back there, and then we're focused for a while. We're focused for a while.
I'm so glad he didn't say did. He said what? Kwyn, we mentioned Pride Month. What events do you have, or do you have events signed up for Pride Month yet?
I do not have events lined up, but I will be in DC this weekend for DC Pride for the first time. So I'm excited to meet everybody there. And I have some so far DC shows coming up, but I have to solidify that with my other plans of things. But June 24th is a very special day. It'll be me and Ashley's anniversary. So if anybody would like to Cash App for Pride Month, help your local gays, you can Cash App KWYNOLOGY so I can get my Leo girlfriend a really big gift and something very nice. Again, the Cash App is KWY. This will be our 4th year.
I think that's 10.
10?
I don't know.
Oh, no, it'll be our 4th year. We've been together for 4 years.
10 is what you get after 4 years of. If you're saying 10,
T-I-N.
you get gold and 50.
Gold and silver and 10.
Listen, y'all, I had a individualized IEP, elementary school and high school. Okay, so you have to repeat sometimes things to me like 3, 4, 5 times.
I understand. I understand. Both show.
So be patient with me. But yes, please Cash App me, give me money so I can get my girlfriend something.
Yeah, she was concentrating on getting that Cash App. We mentioned the election in Georgia. Fulton County, Georgia prosecutor Fani Willis won her Democratic primary race on Tuesday. And of course, she made headlines for the charges she brought against Donald Trump last year for his role in trying to overturn the 2020 election results in Georgia, as well as the co-conspirators, which include Georgia GOP state legislators and the former head of the state Republican Party. But the case is stalled after a public filing in January alleged an affair between Willis and Nathan Wade. So I understand, Myra, at her victory party last night, Nathan Wade showed up. Is there a place for Nathan Wade in Fani Willis's life? It's so close to this.
Not right now.
Yeah,
Not right now.
Yeah.
You know, at some point, you need to just go somewhere and sit down. You know
Why?
They
in love? Aren't they in love? Aren't they in love?
No.
What's love got to do with it? Okay. Straight up. This is about business, standing on business, handle your business.
Yes.
You know, so let this woman do what she needs to do professionally. I'm sure he's, very, very capable, and he has some business he needs to handle. And it's a time and place for everything.
Yeah, it seemed a little thirsty to me.
Yeah.
Almost on.
I hadn't heard that, so
they said he showed up at her campaign victory party last night.
Wait, you think you think he was uninvited?
No.
I don't know. I don't know that she invited him. I don't know who invited him. You think?
Well, I don't
Let me get this straight. You think he showed up at her winning party without her inviting him? Y'all really think that?
Oh, heck yeah.
Do that?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, that's right. No accountability at all. Keep going. Keep moving. Keep moving.
I think he's a little he's missing the spotlight maybe and wanted
right, yeah. Because of course he would go there to her thing uninvited by her. That makes perfect sense.
Not to you, but to me it does, Myra.
It does because you don't want to give her any of the responsibility for actually liking him and inviting him to the party and making him all move.
No, I don't give her credit for engaging in a relationship in which such a high profile case in which she, got involved and maintained this relationship knowing how high the stakes were for this case.
Right.
And that is now she doesn't even know if she's going to have
all of a sudden she stopped making bad decisions. All of a sudden she just stopped making bad decisions.
Well, all of a sudden she would have a girlfriend or somebody say, "Hey, don't invite that Negro to the party."
That's my point. And yet he showed up And yet he showed up, and it could be either like she invited him or he just showed up. Which one do you think is most likely?
I think that
He
whoever
just
ran
showed
against her in the primary
Okay,
said you should go.
okay.
You should go.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
I
Dream on.
I think that it's like, hey, it's a
on,
celebration, it's a party. These are my people. I'm just gonna go.
Yeah, we cool. We cool.
Right,
No,
right. That's what I think.
He's not gonna go without an invite, y'all. Okay, never mind. All right, moving
Stephen
on.
Hill, this isn't one of your la LA parties. He's a well-known man in Atlanta. Maybe he just showed up.
And
Maybe he
who's
just
gonna
rolled
turn him
on
away?
through.
Who's gonna
Okay.
turn him away?
Okay,
Thinking
especially after he's been invited.
Well,
or not.
Y'all don't want to hold.
Or
That's
not.
right. That's right. Fani ain't got no accountability at
Becky
all. I
Welch
love
on
that. I
YouTube
love
said,
her. She
yes,
just stopped.
you're right.
Stop having accountability.
Dora Levette Tiggs on Facebook said, I bet they're still seeing each other.
no.
What?
No,
Oh
no.
my
Brenda
God,
Brooks
y'all.
Perry on YouTube says she's with you, Stephen. So, you know what, Myra? I'm okay being in the minority. I'm okay with that.
That's right, because it keeps hope alive for y'all. It keeps hope alive.
No, I don't give
It
a
keeps
damn.
hope alive.
This ain't my
What-
race.
What hope?
This ain't,
My-
I got no hope for this.
My only thing is
I hope
all
is that she
things
does her
hope
job
alive.
and gets
all
the conviction.
things in time. To me, the priority should be handle your business
That's right.
first.
That's
Handle
right. And
that
Handle
first.
And she's
your
and she's
public
already
business
shown
first.
that didn't work out for her before. Like she's already shown that that wasn't necessarily her first priority. Not a problem. Love is love. Love is love. But don't try to all of a sudden like, oh, he just showed up. He showed up out of the blue at her party.
Okay. My hope is that her eye is on the prize, and that's getting a conviction.
Mhm.
If she's
And
able to
then
get back in the
celebrate
game.
afterwards.
Yeah.
Celebrate afterwards. Whatever you
Take
want
me
to do.
around
and
the
that's
world,
not
but
my-
we don't have to
that's
get
not my
in the
business.
Yeah. Conviction of these. Let me stop.
Say that again, sir.
No, I'm sorry. My Wi-Fi went crazy.
Sure.
These nuts. What? I'm sorry. What did you say?
Yeah. Okay.
I heard that.
Stephen Hill, you have a new handle. This was my second story tonight.
Yes. Haley, 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 no. Haley, 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 no. Haley, 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 no. What's her name? Nikki Haley has decided she's going to vote for Trump.
Anybody surprised? Anybody?
I'm disappointed.
I'm surprised and disappointed because I really thought she was going to stick to her guns. And the fact that I think she had somewhat of a bit of intelligence around the Republican Party now really troubles me. Like I've been full speed like Trump's going to win, Trump's going to win. But in the back of my mind, I'm hoping like maybe not, maybe not. Nikki Haley voting for Trump really indicates to me that I'm freaking right. Like she weighed what was going on and she made a conscious decision.
Or she received something in kind. And
ain't that girl. She's not that girl. That's the thing. She's not that woman. She's not that. I think she stood on, talk about standing on business. She stood on business that she was not that woman and stayed consistent to it, even when others folded. And while I think it's surprising that people are saying she's endorsing Trump, because she's not endorsing Trump. She just said she's going to vote for him.
She announced
that's it. She's not endorsing him.
But the assumption is, while not calling it an endorsement, those 20% of the voters that she got everywhere along the way are going to come with her and vote for Donald Trump too.
I guarantee.
Endorsement or not.
Here's the thing. You won't see her on his campaign trail. If you see her on his campaign trail, then I'm shocked. Then that's a whole different thing.
Suit with a red tie. She made the announcement during her first public appearance since dropping out of the primary. She said, I put my priorities on a president who's going to have the backs of our allies and hold our enemies to account, who would secure the border. She said, Trump has not been perfect on these policies. I've made that clear many, many times, but Biden has been a catastrophe. So I will be voting for Trump. A catastrophe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, how quickly they forget the previous 4 years.
And where she had a job. I mean, she's hoping to get back in there somehow, some way. She may not call it an endorsement, but that's what it was. Wink, wink. Call it what it is.
Say what you want, but them Republicans just be gangster with it. They like, we don't care what we said this morning. We all falling in line, just like a gang, period.
Absolutely. This weekend, big graduation ceremonies. The previous weekend, big graduation ceremonies. The president spoke at Morehouse, and across the street, the ladies of Spelman graduated. And congratulations to Ludacris, who shared sweet photos of his graduating daughter, Karma, from Spelman.
I can't believe Karma's graduating age.
22.
That's a stunning thing to me.
He celebrated her graduation on, this is entertainment. She celebrated her graduation with the post Proud Daddy. The rapper's daughter graduated this weekend, and he shared the series of photos on Instagram as he celebrated his daughter. And she said, make sure you add summa cum laude when you speak about mine. Good for her. Good for her. Good for her.
Spectacular.
Yep. He's super proud of her, and all of his girls were there. He is a proud father of 4, and all of his girls were there and sharing this victory with their dad and with their sister. 22.
I remember when she was born. That's the thing. I actually saw Luda I think it was a couple of weeks ago. He was saying, yeah, Karma's graduating. I'm like, oh, when's she getting out of high school? Like, no, it's college. I was like, oh, Jesus.
Yep, that's the thing about time. It don't wait for anyone, does it?
It's just not. Time goes on and time goes gray.
Okay. Okay. We're going to close out with a jewel. Positive energy helps you focus on solutions rather than problems. Positive energy helps you focus on solutions rather than problems. So inhale positivity, exhale toxicity. Thanks, you guys. I appreciate it. Thanks to Attorney Griggs, president of the Georgia NAACP. Thank you, Coy Malone. Thank you, Kwyn and Myra and Stephen. And you go, Shantae. We will be there applauding you and wishing you on with great positivity. Thanks, everybody. See you soon. Aloha.
Bye.